song back there. I don't know whether it's pinto beans or what.
Is this?
Hello, down there.
They're both supposed to be good cuts.
Okay. Now,
That looks like a new one.
yeah, this don't even have a tape on it. How about that?
Just hang on a minute, and I'll tell you which
There's
one's
one's
gonna
been
work.
swapped over. That's the one it's got the tape on it.
Hello, everybody. Which one of these mics work? That don't work.
Is that
That
work?
one works.
That-
That might work. I guess it does.
All
Yeah,
right.
done it. Oh,
You just gotta
buddy.
flip it hard enough.
Welcome to the Wild Bob and Ronnie show in
Wild Bob is
Great.
absent.
downtown of
AWOL.
LaFollette, Tennessee.
He is no longer a member of the club, don't look like.
We don't have Bob with us.
You know, at AWOL, that could be absent with leave or without leave.
You know, he wanted to do a Saturday show, but he can't even remember to come.
What day it is.
Folks, if you want to call this show, you call the regular call-in phone numbers here. They should be tattooed on the back of your hand by now. 562-3557 or 566-1450.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk about, my understanding is we're gonna talk about jury nullification, we're gonna talk about what Independence Day is all about, and we're gonna talk about, maybe Howard Baker and the Big South Fort and all sorts of things, I don't know.
We had another big event this week. The local news media had all the commissioners and board members from districts 1 and 2 down at the LaFollette Middle School to present their ideas. Now, I was kind of disappointed. A lot of the candidates did not show up. All the incumbents showed up.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at some of their presentations. Can I go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know why we're not doing live broadcasting down there in front of the corner market though, because I noticed they had 2 fire trucks and 3 police cars and a whole herd of people. And it's the biggest thing since they caught that guy stealing toilet paper down at the Shell. And they had a little fender bender up there. 2 fire trucks.
Well, there was a fire truck and an ambulance and 2 police cars in front of apartment complex over there on back street from Fur and Hemlock.
Today?
Yeah, I went by there coming to the show, just checking
Well,
out.
they must have 4 fire trucks in.
we, or they could zoom from one job to another.
Well, probably had those over there from Jacksboro, and they probably borrowed some careful so they'd have enough to go around. I don't know. Yeah, go ahead. What was you
Folks,
gonna talk about,
I was really disappointed. It was really wonderful that our media, WALF here and LaFollette Press, had the candidates come to a public forum at LaFollette Middle School. I think they had about 65 present. About 35 of those were candidates for various offices. But only about half the county commissioners showed up, but all the candidates for school board showed up. But I was really, really disappointed in David Atkins and Marie Ayers, who are from the 1st district. The comments they both made was how hard they studied each issue that comes before the county commission.
And they both voted for solar panels.
And how they analyzed it and studied it before they voted on it. And I would have thrown up, but I was laughing so hard I couldn't.
Are they saying that, I know what you're leading up to, the County Powers Act, right?
Well, several things.
Several things.
Several things. They never studied the solar panel. They did what Jeff Marlowe told them. And when they didn't have a majority, they called a recess, went out and twisted an arm, come back in until they had their 8 votes to get it passed. Nobody studied it. Nobody debated it. And, David Atkins, made the comment that we study and debate every issue that comes before the county commission. Well, they must be holding midnight meetings somewhere if they're discussing and debating bills that come before the county commission, because Marlowe comes in, presents it to them, tells them how to vote, and they vote on it. The County Powers Act, Article 13, the solar panels, borrowing $575,000 to pave 7 miles of road to buy votes. All of this stuff was never discussed, debated, or anything. And when Tom Hatmaker, or is it Bob Walden, Sue Nance, or Beverly Hall happen to raise their hand to ask a question, they shout them down and shut them up. They will not let anybody debate the issue. And when Tom Hatmaker asked Jeff Marlowe for evidence or documentary support or whatever he's presented to have voted on, they tell him no, you know, we'll get that to you later. But there's no democracy down there. But the very fact that they would say that just was a side splitter. That they openly debate and discuss every bill before they pass.
Well, the bad part is, he said there were 65 people total, and I didn't go. I admit it, but I do keep up kind of what's going on, and I really think it's a lost cause. But the people that are doing nothing are the ones that are going to be hurt. These county commissioners are going to hurt us this fall. And they're going to get elected by people that ain't paying attention or that ain't got no skin in the game.
Well, it was broadcast live. I listened to it. I didn't have to go and listen to it on the radio. Well, on the internet through WALF's radio hookup.
They hooked up to WLF.
Uh-huh. And WALF broadcast their own show.
Yeah, out there.
Over the internet.
It's online. I'm gonna watch it later, but I've not watched it yet.
I didn't watch it. I listened to it live. And now I'm going to get to vote against him. Mark Wells is running for county commission, the 2nd district. And now one thing about him is at least he had the backbone to come right out and say that he's going to vote for a tax increase. But the only evidence he had was he claimed that the loss of coal severance tax is a loss of $185,000, and that's only a nickel increase on our taxes to compensate for that. Then he went on to say that he was a personal friend of the state comptroller, and the state comptroller has told him that our revenues are way down. Well, I went in on the internet while I was sitting there listening to all this, because you can multitask, and I went into the state comptroller's website, and you can look up Campbell County revenues, and in 2010, 4 years ago, our revenues were $69.5 million. This is based on Mark Wells' good friend, the state comptroller, his website. Well, in 2013, our revenues had gone up $6 million to $75.5 million. Mark Wells, that is not a reduction in revenue. That is a significant percentage increase in revenues. We are not hurting for revenues. We're hurting for sane management, wise spending, controlled borrowing. That's where we're running into trouble, is that irrational and irresponsible borrowing and spending. We got plenty of money. We just got to have some smart people that spend it wisely.
You mean quit pouring sand in the lake?
Truckload by the truckload. I think some of that money's is mixed in with that
I
sand.
pour sand in the lake, state EPA man makes me move it.
Move the lake or the sand.
Well, the sand, the lake's okay.
I believe they have some kind of rule that anything you put, you're not allowed to take up the displacement of the water or something, isn't it? Something like that.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Folks, we had
boats, do you?
No, I don't.
we had 2 candidates in the 2nd district for county commission that came out strongly against any tax increase. And
Who was that?
that was Tip Jones and our old buddy Scotty Kitts.
Okay,
They're against any kind of tax increase. They want to look,
now if Scott will just hold on to
If
it and
Scott
don't forget what he said.
if he just won't let Marlowe and William Baird take him out in the hall
I guess
down
so.
there at the courthouse and twist his arm,
I
Scotty will
guess-
stick
I
with
guess-
him.
I guess the sign tax man's gonna raise taxes, ain't he?
He's third district, I think, and they weren't there.
Oh, okay.
Now David G. Young was there. He's running in the first district. And David G., according to his own statements, has contributed mightily to the government of Campbell County and the operations of many private businesses with great success. And he just thinks a lot of himself.
Well, somebody gotta like him.
You gotta, I guess if you're running for office, you don't put yourself down, do you?
You say anything about taxes?
Not a word,
Oh, okay.
not a word, but you know, he wants a raise.
Yeah.
You talking about his person wants to raise for his position? or-
Hey, he's being paid out of the county treasury. He wants a raise, so the higher the tax increase, the better the raise.
Well, if you take a look at Young and Jennings, they both think the same. I can say all the other things that they do the same, but Jennings, he whenever he had his talk show back, Let It Rip, I've heard him make several statements, and one of them, he purely believes in zoning. I mean,
yeah.
he
He
says,
thinks Bob smells bad too.
yeah, he takes offense to Bob about his odor or whatever. But,
And we can talk about Bob all we want
yeah,
to
since he
today.
ain't here, I heard some of the statements made that's Jennings is completely and teetotally in favor of more government. He wants the government to tell you everything from how you hook up your water line, because he don't know not to hook up his hot water line to his commode. And he states these things himself.
He's the same guy who used to turn the light switch on with the tube before down here.
Yeah. But anyhow, him and David Young think exactly alike. Right there, whichever way one votes, the other will vote exactly the same on that one. That would
Oh,
be
one,
exactly the
David,
same.
David Young did make an interesting comment. With his job as assistant mayor of Campbell County, that if he's elected to the county commission, has a vote on the commission, then he can serve the county so much better as a representative of the first district on the county commission and as assistant county mayor.
He can be both.
So he intends to be both, and he
And-
makes it very clear that with both positions, he will be able to benefit somebody a lot better from those two positions.
Well,
We know we ain't gonna benefit the voters.
has it been sorted out yet too? Now, the Chamber of Commerce, will he not be the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce or sit on the Chamber of Commerce as some kind of
Now, you're
a,
talking about Mr. Morton now, right?
well,
Morton.
Mr. Morton is there now, but there was some sort of a ruling passed,
It's county mayor,
the county mayor.
yeah.
So that means if the county
He's
mayor,
vice mayor, I mean, he's
Yeah,
assistant mayor,
but he
not
was-
the mayor.
but if the mayor ain't available, if the mayor's out having a cup of coffee, he's gonna be sitting in on the Chamber of Commerce also.
I don't know about that.
Oh, are you talking about the Campbell County Chamber of Commerce to represent local business that has not one single business owner on the 15
That's
member
the one we're
board
talking about.
of the
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce? Okay.
You know, I've heard
The
that.
non-business, Chamber of Commerce representing business by non-business people.
Well, that might be part of the bylaws of it, that you're not allowed to be in business and be on the Chamber of Commerce. You reckon that's
Now,
possible in the bylaws?
members is a big long list of businesses.
But
But
no,
none of those business owners is on the board of the Chamber of Commerce.
Well,
Now,
that's
that-
a conflict of interest, people
Yeah,
paying
now
the
that-
bills,
that
and
make big-
people paying the bills and talking about how to spend the money, that's a
There
conflict of
you
interest.
go.
That's just an obvious conflict of interest.
well, it's,
I sure do miss Bob, I don't have to talk as loud.
is that right?
I mean, I don't get to talk as loud.
Did, in this thing, I missed the thing, I wanted to hear it because I need a good laugh every now and then. And I don't know how I missed it, it may have been because I was working, I don't know, that, takes up a certain amount of time. Was there a question and answer session to this thing, or would they just go up and tell how many years?
The press asked questions.
Were they filtered?
Now, WLF did a great job. La Follette Press did a great job, but there was a woman there from somewhere, and I did not get where she was from. She was one of the questioners, and Boomer Winfrey was one of the questioners. Now, I could not understand Boomer's question over the internet. Now, he may have had a bad mic. We've experienced that before. I couldn't understand his question. But the very first question this lady asked the county commissioners was about what they were going to do
Or
to
our ringers
support
turned off.
education.
Go ahead.
Well, Bob and Ron,
Yes, sir. How we doing today?
great.
Hey, does it do any good to vote, you reckon?
Makes you feel better.
Oh, yeah, it's always good to vote.
Yeah.
Not like it was in the old days. Used to you could get a drink of liquor and maybe a $2 bill
And
But-
a cigar.
and a cigar.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
it's hard to get that anymore.
we ain't got much to say when we do vote, so, it's something, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you how you can really do more damage if you go to county commission meetings and insist on your 5-minute speech. And get up and tell them that you don't want your taxes raised, you don't want your money wasted, you don't want to be pushed around.
And they're gonna do that anyway.
And no more borrowing.
And they'll
Talk about
certainly,
all this spending.
they'll certainly do it if
Yeah.
nobody says anything.
Right.
Look out there at the, Dennis Potter's house. Don't you think there's so many millions went into that house that he had built? I mean, that's part of our money, ain't it?
No, I don't think the county taxpayers paid for it, of course, they do pay him his salary.
Potter sold a private business, I think, at one time, didn't he? So he was rich when he went into that office.
And he was handed down to him, but,
Unlike Herd Baker Jr., who's never worked a day in his life.
yeah. That's another thing about the sheriff there. Why do we have to call Anderson County, Clinton, and all that in there? They thought that boy was, he wasn't a bit more threat than a cockroach. I mean, that's a lot of,
You're talking about Comer, the alleged child killer?
Hello? Are you there?
Hello?
You may have hung up on us, okay.
Thank you for your
All right.
call, sir. We appreciate that.
Our ringer's turned off, we just got lights, is what we
Yeah,
got.
we
may have missed
we
the
gotta
call.
see it when it.
Yeah, we watch for that blinking light. I always watch for them blinking lights in my mirror.
But anyway, this lady asked a
And
question.
volunteer time's hung up to, they give up the ghost or
I
not?
think so.
Okay.
But,
That wasn't who the talking the questioner was it?
this, I don't know, but, well, no, I don't think it was Kelly Jo Wright. Whoever this lady was, her first question was to the county commissioners was, and they were all supposed to answer it, and they started with the 2nd District and Scott Kitts, and her question was, what are you gonna do for, education in Campbell County? Well, that just threw poor old Scotty a curve, because that was a school board question, and she carried it over to the county commissioners, like, what are you gonna do for education? Well, Scotty actually answered the question in a very competent manner. I was really proud of him. And but some of them were having trouble answering that question.
Like that time we asked Ted Kennedy, if I want to be president, he couldn't figure out a reason.
Couldn't think of a reason why. but I think somebody should have told that lady, I'm sorry, lady, this is for county commissioners, and we don't run the schools. But,
Well, they can control the money.
well, yeah, they can either accept or reject the school budget. They cannot modify it. Only the school board can modify set the budget. The county commission can reject it and send it back for modification. But the school board is not obligated to modify it even after it's sent back to them for modification. They can stick with it, and either the county commission can either.
Yeah, I know, everything going on in government has a blame somebody else clause involved in it. If you don't agree with the tax assessment, you end up in Nashville. If you don't agree with the way your money's being spent, that's also dictated with the federal and state government. I don't care what you say, nobody's got any authority around here, but we're paying them anyway. Why do we do that?
Well,
I mean, what's the use of paying them if they ain't got a yes or no on anything?
if I get on a rant about Howard Baker Jr., I'll answer that question.
Well, I'll let you get on that rant in just a minute. I got another guy here just waiting in the wing wanting to rant, and I'm gonna let him have at it. And here he goes, I think. Yep, he is.
I think I've ran it out, so I think.
Vaughn Digger Wilson. Been here off and on for over 30 years in the same spot. Pumping propane, doing repairs on containers, heaters. Not the only one in the county that'll do you a repair on your tanks if you need it. I sell propane gas, liquid propane, and I've got plenty of competitors, and I can easily compete with them. That's grills, backup heat, substitute heat, grills, campers, motor homes, you name it, and if it comes in through that door, I can take care of it. I'm here Tuesday through Friday, 8 till 5, and Saturday, 8 till 12. They could call me at 562 54
44.
5444?
54, 54445. It's 5444. 562 5444 or 5444 or 5444.
You know, it seems a lot easier to remember 2 numbers than it is 4 numbers.
Yeah, he's down there in Sawmill Holler, right smack down the middle of the road, and it ain't too late to get stocked up for your summer propane. You're gonna need it when you're out roasting them watermelons for the 4th of July and all that stuff.
Grilled watermelon.
Yeah.
Grilled watermelon, yes sir, boiled cantaloupe. You ever had any boiled cucumbers? Boiled cucumbers and stewed okra, that's all good stuff. It's stewed cucumbers and boiled okra.
I have no idea.
Digger's got the gas to take care of it, 562 5444.
You know, you used to, what it was, if it's on the table, you just eat it, you didn't ask no questions.
By the way, most people need to remember that the 4th of July is not the 4th of July because it's a great sounding date. It's Independence Day. Some people with some real guts decided to stand up to the King of England and declare themselves free and not obligated. They claimed the right that God gave them to be people instead of sheep. They said God gave us the right when we were born to govern ourselves and to take care of ourselves and to provide for ourselves and not have to answer to anybody except God. And we are going to allow the government to kind of watch over things a little bit, but they got to remember that we give them authority. We don't get through their good graces anything. And that's what Independence Day is all about.
You know, one of the things that really blew me away about Mark Wells, candidate for county commission, 2nd district, he, like David G. Young, he speaks well of himself. He said, I am an expert on finance, and I am needed on the county commission because of my vast knowledge of finance.
Mm-hmm.
And with this vast knowledge, he didn't even know revenues were going up. He thought they were going down.
You talking about Dave Young or?
No, Mark Wells. Said he was an expert in finance. I think he's employed by a bank somewhere or something.
Yeah, well,
or
I'm an
Has
expert.
worked in a
I'm an
bank.
expert in finance too. My budget balances. Them guys down yonder can't balance. I never met a balanced budget.
Hey, I drove by a bank one time. That makes me an expert on
reckon.
finance.
These, all these experts, aren't they supposed to have a budget in and have it passed by the end of this month by?
Yeah, we
tomorrow,
can't
next
target them two guys, though, they ain't to blame for that, but that was supposed to have been done, and they just all decided, well, almost all of them decided to wait till after the election to do a budget.
Now, I think David G. Young's part of the planning board down there. I think he and
Planning.
William Beard and
Yeah,
Dale
but-
Marlowe, they put
but-
their
but
heads
he didn't
together.
get- He didn't get the
Oh,
vote.
we need to put this off till after.
Well,
He
he
didn't
didn't-
have, he don't have a vote yet, but,
You know, it'd be interesting, all the words, just like what you said right there, a planning board. There needs to be made very well that everybody knows what a planning board is. And whenever they say board, it's a piece of wood that's flat and whatever else, or something else, that's my meaning of it. But,
planning board, when you went to school,
Planning.
was a whole different concept.
yeah, and.
You remember that planning,
Yeah,
you
and
remember
it
that planning board, them people
Yeah,
said?
it made a popping noise when it made contact. But here's the thing, you hear the terminology that's used, it's like the thing that Marlowe put in there with all those numbers. I guarantee you that they ain't 2% of the people in the county that understood what's in that thing.
That's the reason he done that.
That's exactly the reason he's done it. It makes it sound. Now, this guy, I've never met him, the one that you just said there that declares himself an expert
In finance.
in
Mark
finance.
Wells, he served 10 years on the school board
But still yet.
from the second district.
Where does, it bothers me when somebody
The way the
declares,
school board's managed, that's high praise.
Well, the 10 years he was on the school boards, when our school went down in quality to the point the state almost come in and took it over.
Is that during the time we
That
couldn't get school buses to run?
That's when the school buses wouldn't
Well,
run.
that- okay.
Oh, Mark Wells was responsible for all
Well,
that.
he learned the hard way, he's good now.
He's an expert now.
Yes, Mr. Henson, we've interrupted you several times.
well, whenever a guy starts calling himself an expert, it bothers me. Whenever somebody has to start bragging on it, it's kinda like the things you're talking about Young. I've heard Young talk, and I got about as much for Young as I have with a pet rock out here. He's
He's a big old rock, more of a boulder.
big.
He's put on more weight. You
Yeah,
should have
he's
seen
been
the
older.
pictures on the WLAF website. He was sitting on the end and he had to have a chair way out by itself.
Let me ask you a question, and this would be for, I can't think of Wells. Mr. Wells?
Mark Wells.
Mark Wells, expert finance.
Oh, yeah.
Why ain't he in business out here then? If he's an expert, why is he selling his expertise to somebody else? If he's an expert, anybody's an expert, I'd bet you're doing it themselves, creating jobs. Why ain't he got about 15 people hired? Him being an expert and directing them, making millions, creating jobs. Same thing, well, that's a fair question. If Young is so smart, I said this many a time, we should not have any financial problems. With all the people that we've got in this community and area that are supposed to be so well experted, we're in a heck of a situation. Now, let me show you another thing. I don't, well, I guess I ought to get on some people individually, but here's the point. People, these politicians, in my opinion, are saying what people want to hear. They're not telling them what stinks when you pull the lid off. And the more you stir it, the more it stinks. But you take in this area right here, there is untold amounts of wealth in this small area here. People hold wealth. They got that wealth, most of them, by being good business people or whatever else. Those people would invest that wealth right now in a heartbeat if they could make a return. You see what I'm saying? If they could make money right now, this money would be getting invested into something.
It's like E.L. Martin's talking about a bowling alley. If a bowling alley would make money, he would be in the bowling business. He's talking about putting in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. If a swimming pool made money, He'd be in the swimming pool business.
Well, where are they gonna put these things?
That's a good question.
Well, there was another state.
We're gonna have an ice rink for 2 weeks, so.
Yeah, I know.
There was
But at
a,
least they're gonna prove to us they tried.
Bob
Yeah,
Fannin,
so-
Bob Fannon's so embarrassed, he's trying to put up the money privately now.
there was a, yeah, I'd like to expunge on that in a little
Who's
bit.
that now?
Bob Fannon's offered $15,000 toward this $21,000 that the taxpayer was gonna
Good,
have.
I'm for it
I'm
then.
for it then, I'm for it.
And
Now,
he's trying to get other businesses to put
Well,
up the other 6,000.
Here's, that right there is an example of what I've said.
I wish you would, we could go down and try it out.
Uh,
It might just be the thing us old people
Yeah,
need.
If Fannin, if he's willing to put up that, and each city commissioner that voted for that would put up 1,000 each, you don't like much of having it paid for it.
I would still be a couple
Well,
thousand short.
Well, yeah, right, but maybe
You
it'll
got a
bring in.
mayor, he can throw in a little.
Mayor could throw in a couple
Yeah.
grand, yeah.
What I'm saying is, let the private sector take care of it. It's like what you're talking about, a bowling alley. There's been 2 bowling alleys here.
They can't stand on their own 2
All right.
feet.
That ought to be a good example, but anyone who has the forethought to think that they can do it, then this comes back, we got a call right there. I don't know how long it's
We
been ringing.
need,
Wild Bob and Ron show,
Hey, guys.
yeah.
I want to invite you to the 4th of July anniversary, 20 years, Victory for Kids anniversary get together. It's this coming Saturday at 2 p.m. I invite you to come out.
where at?
Where at?
It's going to be at West Follet Baptist Church.
Now, that's not today, that's a week from today, right?
Yeah, July the 4th.
July the 4th.
Do we bring our own fireworks?
Might as well.
Okay. All right, we'll,
We're having enough food for everybody.
Okay, give us that date and time and place again.
The place is going to be at West Follet Baptist Church. That's July the 4th. It starts at 2 p.m.
And this is Victory for Kids.
Victory for Kids.
and it lasts as long as there's hot dogs and food left, right?
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Okay.
All right.
We got all kinds of emergency vehicles that are coming, and we got WVLT is coming, and we got a bunch of other stuff are coming.
Hey, would you add on that you let us drive some of them emergency vehicles around?
Oh, you have to talk to them, not me.
Just once around the block.
Now.
I've been trying to get my UPS guy to let me drive his brown truck around the block one time. They won't do it.
I'll be afraid to get in front of you.
Okay, we appreciate it.
Hey,
Hey, that phone number is 423-907-2655.
2655.
55.
907-2655.
That's right.
Saturday, July the 4th at 2 o'clock at the West Follet Baptist Church.
Right.
Wonderful. Thank you for your call.
Thank you guys. Have a good 4th.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. But anyhow, let's get back to the,
We'll call it Mafia.
well, what politicians
Now with
say.
Jacksboro
Yeah.
Mafia.
Whenever, and it's not gonna surprise me one bit, Cliff Jennings and David Young getting elected, that won't surprise me one bit. But that'll show a reflection, or tell us how the general population thinks. And one of our earlier callers there asked about the need for voting. We do need to vote, but here's the dadgum thing about it is we got very, very little choice to make. I mean, we don't, I've been disappointed and sorely disappointed in some of the people once I hear them talk and hear what their ideas or whatever is, and it boils back down to the fact that they haven't been there and done it. It's just that simple.
Well, I really fear for the first commissioner's district, if they, reelect their incumbents, or re-elect 2 out of the 3, and then throw David G. Young in there with them. Wild Bob Ron Show.
Hello?
Hello.
Is the fire on the water still on?
I'm sorry, say it again, please.
Is the fire on the water, are they still having that, do you know?
Yeah.
As far as we know, it is still going.
Fire on the water. But school's out. Be no school.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
on tonight.
Yeah, it's supposed to still be on for that. Thank you. But anyhow, these are things that we're not going to change. These are things that don't get changed overnight. The politicians, when they go out there and go to speak in this stuff, there's certain things that, and the taxes are one of the things that they really need to be asked about. There'll come a point that we can pay no more. And
Are you somewhat under the impression that the challengers for county commission don't have a lot of faith in unseating the incumbents? Have you noticed that in some of the districts? It appeared to me during that discussion the other night that from the first district, it's almost like all the challengers just kind of let Atkins and Ayers and David Young have their way and their say. Nobody challenged their presentation. Nobody questioned the excessive spending, the doubling of the debt, the millions of dollars of overrun on all the projects like the Money Hole Park. And I think we're still spending money out there hauling sand and dumping it in the water.
that Money Hole Park thing will be what it is forever. Whenever you do these things, just like that, it becomes a drain from that point on, because you got to have people to maintain it, everything under the sun.
We should restrict our entertainment spending and save it till we've got all the rest of our bills paid before we start entertaining. And that's all we're talking about, is how to entertain with bowling alleys and swimming pools and money hole parks and on and on.
Ice rinks.
Yeah, we need to quit entertaining and start paying our bills.
There was mention.
I think we ought to start a hockey team.
Yeah. And
We ought to keep that. We ought to keep that ice
put
rink.
in a snow skiing school.
Why don't we build?
We got a hillside. We could put we could
toboggan racing.
we could buy one of them snow
And
machines
the luge.
and put in a luge.
We could build us a coliseum and buy us a football team, couldn't we? And
Yeah,
get
we
rich.
couldn't name them anything that hurt
Yeah, we
anybody's
could.
feelings.
Yeah.
Hey, Knoxville's got the volunteers. We could have us a team up here.
You know, them volunteers, I'm Quaker and that offends me.
I was thinking about something just not long ago. If you take a look at how many people that are employed either directly or indirectly by some sort of government agency, over 50% of the population somehow is working from government. I'm talking about from the United States government all the way down to the city and county.
RL, you have got me on my next rant. Go ahead and finish
Okay.
yours.
These people,
You're leading into my next rant.
the people who are employed, just like the first thing that these county commissioners get right off the bat is insurance. They get their insurance. So that rules it out of them being even concerned about the rest of us out here. Now, and I can go on and on about these things. Their job security, you name it. And some of these elected offices, some of the salaries in there that are, to me, are unbelievable. You know.
Well, you know about the 4 employees we have teaching school that don't have any college. Well, a couple of them have a little bit of college, but none of them have college degrees, and none of them have teaching certification, but they have classroom responsibility.
It's hard for me.
And it's a violation of state law.
Okay. Here's the thing that kind of, I don't know, I cannot figure out. You take a professor or anybody just like a county commissioner or any elected official out here. do they have to go get refueled up on knowledge every night? It's like whenever we bring a truck in, we have to check the oil, fuel it up and everything else. But yet, whenever they go into work in the morning, they don't have to go get refueled up on knowledge. All they do is take the same thing. And they come back next year, they teach the same thing. Math teacher, 2 and 2 is 4.
Now, wait a minute.
Okay, put it
Yeah,
on.
they're changing the rules on teaching every year, it's different.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
teaching. Administration is ruining the.
Let me do something here, fellas, then you fellas can do whatever you wanna do the rest of the
Yeah, I
time.
wanna go in, use your comments to lead into Howard Baker Jr.
Well, we've been in business here for 75 years. I've got 40 years experience in the ambulance service. We have a Class A ambulance service.
Almost 22 employees.
22 employees that we pay for all over our own.
And how much taxpayer money goes into this operation?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
We do all kinds of ambulance service. We're graded by the state as a Class A service. We can haul any kind of patients, we can go anywhere. We do a lot of non-emergency transports, nursing homes, hospitals, doctor's offices. But we go anywhere that patients want to go. We appreciate the opportunity to serve each and every one of our patients. Any kind of insurance you have, we're qualified to take it.
If you need medical transport, that's an ambulance, then call the company that does not require taxpayer money. They either please you or they go out of business. Call Vital Care at 562-9370. And if you can't remember that, just call 911 and tell them you want Vital Care. Works every time. Worked for Bob, and kept Bob alive, and we didn't hold it against
That's one of the things, that ambulance service that the county runs, that costs over $2 million a year, and they lose $1 million a year. The taxpayer has to make up for their losses. At one time, they lost $670,000 because they didn't send the bills out. So they weren't doing their job, they weren't doing their paperwork, and losing $1 million a year in malfeasance. And, that needs to be shut down. That right there would balance the budget.
Let me ask you a question here. This is part of what I lead back to. Had that been a private enterprise, and they failed to send the bill in, and they lost $600,000, that wouldn't have come out of the taxpayer's pocket.
No,
See,
it would've,
and
and
this is
whoever's responsible would either got fired or went bankrupt.
Well, this is where I'm coming back to. There's no accountability.
We could be selling the privilege for running the ambulance service in this county rather than supporting one.
Right.
Well, but yet it could be private enterprise could do it.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. And the whole thing is upside down. There's not going to be enough people out here, grunts out here on the ground, to support this thing forever. The way it's going, government gets larger and larger and larger. It's kind of like I said about Jennings. He thinks that government should tell you what type of toilet paper you use and what you eat or whatever.
What left too before you use turn the
Yeah,
light switch on.
yeah. What size nail to build your house? It boils down to we're not allowed to make a mistake. All we're allowed to do is get out here and work and pay the wages of people. And this is a mistake. That's why this country was built. We was allowed to make mistakes. If I want to go out here and climb up on a high place to fix the silo or do something else, there shouldn't be somebody come out here and find me because it's I take the risk.
Because you used the wrong ladder or
Well, if I
something.
make a mistake, I pay.
That's
But I
right.
don't have to go pay somebody's wage for it.
Well,
That's what I'm
let me
getting at.
expand upon your comment just a little bit.
Okay.
Everybody's heard that Howard Baker Jr. has passed away over in Huntsville. He was 88 years old. Howard Baker Jr. lived better, probably 100 times better, probably thousands of times better than his neighbors over in Scott County or the people over here in Campbell County. He probably lived better than 99.9% of the people of the state of Tennessee. Now, he had a law firm, but he did not start that law firm. His daddy started that with old man Stansbury. So Howard Baker inherited that. He did not create anything. He was in politics. Now, he tries to take credit for creating the Big South Fork. No, God created the Big South Fork. Howard Baker took it away from the people, turned it over to the government, and put $26 million in his own pocket in doing so. He has benefited from the taxpayer, the government treasury, and lives thousands times better than any of his neighbors. Howard Baker, he turned his back on Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon helped him get elected in '72. He turned his back. 2 years later, he turns his back on Richard Nixon. If Howard Baker had stood up for Richard Nixon the way the Democrats stood up for Bill Clinton, Nixon would never have had to resign. But Howard
If he'd been
Baker,
as smart as that crowd they got now, he'd have burned the tapes instead of losing the
Right.
email.
and Howard, they would not have known. Howard, you know, Howard Baker's the one that come up with the comment, what did the president know and when did he know it? And of course the liberal media took off of that comment and used it
Well,
to
he was
crucify
able to
Nixon.
cross the aisle, you know.
And then Fred Thompson was his legal counsel. And did you know Fred Thompson has apologized for his role in the Watergate hearings that helped bring Nixon down? Because Thompson asked Alexander Butterfield the question, is there a taping machine in the Oval Office that you know of? And Alexander Butterfield was under oath, an honest man. He had to answer, yes, there is one in there. And if it hadn't been for those tapes, Nixon would have never had to resign. So it was Howard Baker and his attorney that brought Nixon down. And Fred Thompson apologized, but Howard Baker never has.
Well, you know, there's another simple way that could have been said. They could have said, it all depends on what the meaning of is
Exactly.
whether they're in there or not.
And you know,
And I'm gonna tell you,
Another thing.
I'm no fan of Richard Nixon. I think they ought to hung him, but they ought to be a lot more liberal with the rope too. There's some more needs the same thing.
Howard Baker,
Rope.
then Howard Baker, after Nixon resigned, Ford spent 2 years in there. Then Jimmy Carter comes in. Woe to America. Howard Baker helped Jimmy Carter give away the Panama Canal. If Howard Baker had stood up for America and for the Panama Canal, we would not have had to give that away. He could have blocked Carter in giving away the Panama Canal. You know who runs the Panama Canal now?
I don't even know. I don't pay attention to it much anymore.
China.
I don't
China
doubt that a
signed a
bit.
contract with
That's
the
right. I read
country of
that somewhere.
Panama.
You're right.
And now, something we built, America's has defended with our troops, lives of our military men. People have died building. Americans have died.
Reagan said we built it, and paid for it, and we're gonna keep it.
And, well, Jimmy Carter did not. And Reagan couldn't take it back after he became president.
We're not, I know we ought to take up our time on the local politics, but I'm of kind of the feeling that there's not a whole lot to talk about because I don't think there's going to be a great lot of change no matter what we do. I think the old farmer out here and whoever it is that's out here trying to scratch out a living, he's going to be paying higher taxes. I mean, that's just the bottom line, and everybody's going to be getting their raises, guaranteed their health, and if the health insurance goes up,
Because
who
you think,
cares?
so you think Mark Wells and this bunch is gonna get their way?
Well, I'm pretty, Well-
Marie Ayers and David Atkins and David Young, they're all gonna get their way.
I hope not. I certainly hope not, but if you take and look at an election, you take David Young, who's going to be the people that vote for him? If you just stop and ask yourself, is it going, anybody that he's done business with, and when I talk about business, I use that word loosely. You know what I'm talking about? Or their associates are going to
Do all those Inmates down there at the jail when he was there, do they get to vote now?
I
They all
don't
got their voting rights back?
think, I'm not sure. I know what you're
That'd
talking
be a
about.
huge block of votes right
Well,
there, he'd get right off the top.
Well, like I say, Hillary tried to get something done about that, I believe. I know it was that if you get out of jail that you get expunged. But let me go back and get on to another subject that I just read about here in the paper today. And it has to do with this immigration thing. The president is kind of keeping his mouth shut here for just a few days on this amnesty thing. And whenever you say a pathway to citizenship, that is amnesty. If you come up and say, I'm sorry, I come across, here's my $2, I'm a citizen now. He's backing off on this thing. This, this country could never be taken over by a foreign power. We got enough firepower and whatever to protect ourselves. But I would have never believed that this country, that Mexico, Guatemala, and a couple of these other countries could take this country over with unarmed children. And that's what it's boiling down to. This country has been invaded by children.
Camp of the Saints.
Well, right.
Camp of the
And
Saints,
if you
all
don't
over
think this-
again, yep.
You continue this, they said they see no end to it. And of course the president, in his statement right there in the paper, he says that nobody will be sent back unless they've committed a felony or something like that. Just for crossing that border and being here illegal, he states that they will not be sent back. And
Well, you know, he's looking at future Democrat voters
Okay.
here, and I don't
Yeah.
know why he needs them. They're having 150% turnout now.
Well,
Well, they need-
Didn't
uh,
I see somewhere where they had 4 million people, voted twice in the last national
Oh,
election?
yeah, one lady in,
she voted
Cleveland,
6 times,
Ohio
didn't
voted
she?
6 times.
Yeah, and she was,
she was one of the precinct workers and bragged about it.
yeah, bragged about it, and they wasn't a thing done about that.
Of course
There
not.
wasn't nothing done about it. But getting back to this thing right here,
I think it's 141% turnout in Dade County,
What-
Florida.
wouldn't it be something that if the South America and Latin America, or these countries, Mexico say, took this country over, and they're doing it.
Have you
You
seen,
take-
have you seen the trainloads of people coming up through Mexico toward the
They're-
United States?
they are
Have you
being-
seen those trains?
Yeah,
They're packed on the inside and
And the
people on
outside.
top. It looks, remember those trains you see in India, you know,
Yeah.
the old movies
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff?
yeah.
Boy, if they was a handle anywhere anybody could hang on to,
That's back from Mumbai with
Yeah.
Bombay, wasn't it?
fellas, if you just stop and think about this,
And that's what we're facing. Yes, sir, you are
every
right.
dime that's being spent here is being taken from the working people. The people that,
You know, the president's sending money down there to help them.
but millions.
Put people on these
Millions.
trains,
Yeah, they get
come
better
through,
trains.
come through Mexico.
Well,
They're
they're
pay
finding,
their way through Mexico.
they're finding pamphlets that is explaining to these aliens, these children, what to do. That when they get their feet on American soil, the first thing they do is to surrender
Yep.
to a border guard.
Have you seen a skinny one yet?
No, I ain't seen a skinny one. I ain't seen one that needs his face
Well, there's
washed.
something
Every
else,
one of them.
right.
What
They're
about
all-
Mexico? They can catch one poor old GI down there and made a wrong turn, put him in jail and chain him to a bed and strip him naked and let him stay there for months on end, but they can't catch a whole trainload of people coming the other way.
But
Well,
they've done and figured out our weakness,
They've
and
done
they are
figured it
taking
out.
advantage of it.
And right now,
Woo!
the president is not going to do a thing about it. It's just like where we released a ton of people, of these aliens here back a few months ago, and about 100 of them were in for murder and other type bad things. But this is an invasion. We've been invaded,
It's an
and
invasion.
there's not a thing we can do about it.
Read the book, folks. It's called Camp of the Saints.
I've
You
kind of
can
made
get it on ABE Books. I don't know if Amazon carries it now or not, but it became a bestseller again in 2011, about 3 years ago, because that's what's happening to Western civilization. We are being invaded by third world countries, and they know how to do it and how to get away with it.
We have an open border. There's no way under the
You
sun.
feel like you're being
We have an open
invaded.
border on our south that we cannot
Come to
protect.
follow.
Now, We-
See
we've
you.
been-
Thanks,
There's a whole
folks.
lot more